Oh, so you want another conspiracy theory video compilation? Well, here you go.
You're going to want to hear this. Don't you think it's odd that Alaska is part of the United States of America? The real reason is far darker and more complex than you have been led to believe. Deep within Alaska, there is a black pyramid, an ancient structure that is buried beneath the ground, emitting powerful energy. You're going to want to hear this. Don't you think it's odd that Alaska is part of the United States of America? The real reason is far darker and more complex than you have been led to believe. Deep within Alaska, there is a black pyramid, an ancient structure that is buried beneath the ground, emitting powerful energy. In 1992, an earthquake in China revealed this pyramid near Mount McKinley. This discovery was picked up by spy satellites, revealing its location to external nations. Indigenous Alaskan tribes also speak of a powerful sacred structure which fits the exact same description as the structure captured on the satellite. But it gets even crazier. According to ancient scripts, the Black Pyramid is part of a global network of ancient energy generators. These pyramids were scattered around the world by a civilization that used to walk with the gods. The purpose was to harness and distribute energy across the world. The same network includes the Great Pyramid of Giza. Since the founding of the United States, extra effort was placed into colonizing Alaska with the aim to reverse engineer the pyramid's technology for modern use.
It's the fact that they had technology back then that we can't even understand today, but yet this is supposed to be the most technically advanced era of modern human history.
Project first dreamed up by the military to get information from the battlefield.
They call it smart guns, and the new technology may soon make it possible to keep track of anything, anywhere, including you.
The nanoparticles are designed to go under the radar of the immune system, and so they are undetected in the body.
We have computing everywhere, we have connectivity everywhere, we have infrastructure that can compute those with new capabilities like AI.
If you have enough data and you have enough computing power, you can understand people better than they understand themselves, and then you can manipulate them in ways which were previously impossible.
Transhumanism is a growing movement that aims to use technology to modify our bodies, sometimes in radical ways to make them stronger, faster, and
All I heard was, yeah, we could use this to take control over bad people. And then I heard, no, we can actually use this to control anyone and everyone without them knowing.
TikTok, I really need your help with this one. I was cooking some spinach and one of the leaves just started inflating, and I'm not sure if that's supposed to happen. It kind of looks like plastic. Can somebody tell me what that is?
Yo, what the heck is yellow coming out? Oh, green fluid leaking from the airport.
Oh my God, lose the airport.
Don't get too close.
What happened?
It might not even be safe to smell that.
The 2024 Paris Olympics mascots are Illuminati confirmed. Here's why. The new mascots, called Frères, are actually caps that go back to the cult of Mithras in Rome. This was a sun-worshipping mystery cult derived from the Persian Zoroastrians. They had initiation degrees, secret handshakes, and vows of silence, so basically the archetype for secret societies and the Illuminati. Mithras was depicted wearing the red Frisian cap and slaying a bull. If you dig deep into this topic, there's a claim that Mithras is actually devil worship when he is worshipped at night. I also covered 3 podcasts in 2020 detailing the occult symbolism of Raised by Wolves, which is based on the same Mithraic mysteries, symbolism of destroying our world in order to rebuild it. Now, officially, the caps represent liberty and freedom, symbolizing the French Revolution, but even that's Illuminati confirmed because there's theories that the Bavarian Illuminati orchestrated that event. The truth is that symbols hold energy and speak to us on a subconscious level. When you look at the hidden occult symbolism of the Frères cap, you end up finding direct links to sun worship and alchemy through Hermeticism, which is based on contact with an alien god named Hermes.
Y'all, these symbolisms are there for a reason. You can ignore them if you want to, but there could be some truth behind the conspiracy theories around them.
Pluto is not named after the dog, even though the dog and the planet were named like
the same time,
like the same year, which is weird. But isn't it funny how nobody thinks it's weird that Walt Disney named a dog after the ferry boat guy to hell or to death. I mean, that's what Pluto is. I mean, he's basically is like Hades. Like he takes the soul to hell, to the underworld. And so that's what the dog's name. What else is that cat in Cinderella is named Lucifer?
Lucifer! Let him go, Lucifer!
Oh yeah. That's weird. Just think about the Smurfs. So you have Gargamel, which sounds an awful like Gadriel. And what's his cat's name? Azrael.
Cat's name is Azrael in that?
Yeah, his cat's name is Azrael.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Gargamel and Azrael.
Oh my gosh, in the Smurfs?
That sounds an awful lot like Gadriel and Azazel. What?
I never even put that together. That's interesting.
Slightly concerned about tap water, but what about toilet paper? This isn't just apparently in the UK. It's across the whole world they're finding it. So toilet paper near you, watch out. It seems to come down to this one specific type of PFAS, which is called 6,2-DIPAP, which sounds like Elon Musk's new son's name or something. But it represented 91% of all the PFAS found in the toilet paper. I think the real problems, once again, occur when it comes to the environment. You know, they can't break down. You can't break these things down. They're there forever. And they get stuck in the soil, stuck in the waterways. They affect the fish, and they bioaccumulate, apparently is the technical word for it. So you know how we sort of have always seen toilet paper as relatively benign, and children are sort of wrapping themselves up on it, playing with it. But, you know, maybe it might not be so great to play with.
Sí, bueno, como que está bajando, pero se está... ¿Un platillo, no? Ay, ya sé. No, qué miedo. No, qué miedo. Ya se está yendo.
That's a big UFO. Oh, that's not okay.
Genetically engineered potatoes and apples already on the market. They use this double-stranded RNA produced by the inserted gene, and it silences the gene that causes those to brown if sliced. So you have the Botox apple, lies at about its age, doesn't turn brown, so it could be 18 days old, 20 days old, cut, and you can eat it, and you won't know that it's old. When you eat that apple, the double-stranded RNA that's built into the apple could reprogram and silence our own genes. We know what happens interspecies. In fact, they fed a double-stranded RNA meal to young honeybees in larval stage and then checked their DNA expression twice late in 2 different periods a few weeks later. They were expecting nothing to happen because they wanted this particular double-stranded RNA to be the control. 1,400 genes changed expression. 1,400, 10% of the genome were different in the group that was fed one meal. You can feed double-stranded RNA to mice and change something in their liver. We know that it can affect humans. In fact, how we know that that the RNA in general from the plants that we eat can help program the DNA expression, and it's part of the intelligence transfer between the food we eat and our own genetic expression.
I'm about convinced that nothing, and I mean nothing, sourced from the U.S., organic or not, is healthy. If you eating food in America, don't be surprised if you grow an extra limb or 2. I'm just saying, if anything, if they go do that type of modification to our foods, do it for the better. Make us healthier, make us stronger, make us faster, make us smarter, not take us out.
Fruit flavors we're talking about, we want, a burst in the beginning and maybe a finish that doesn't linger too much so that you want more of it.
You don't want a long linger because you're not going to eat more of it if it lingers.
Ah, so it's going to be a quick fix. And then
have more.
And then have more. But that suggests something else.
Exactly.
Which is called addiction.
Exactly.
You're trying to create an addictive taste.
It's a good word.
Or something that they want to go back for again and again.
No!
Oh my
Please.
goodness.
I don't want to see it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where'd that come from?
Go show it to him.
Oh my God.
They just need to know where they got it.
Yo, could you
That's
imagine?
Huge. That's an abnormally large.
That's how you know it's hot.
Well, let's see how long it takes you to find me. Thank you very much. Let's go.
可以追溯到说，出现每一张脸都可以对应说他的身份证，以及他所经过，比如在过去1周我们回溯他的行经路程，我们也做了像人和车的匹配。那同时在人上匹配还包括亲属关系匹配，然后是你经常接触人员之间匹配。就是当摄像机布到就或者我们传感器布到一定密度的时候，其实我们会经常知道你跟谁经常在一起。
That's crazy. They can match you with your cars. They can match you with relatives. Like the freaking look. That's Black Mirror.
Well, here we are then. I just got out of the car, close to the city centre, and for the purposes of this exercise, the plan is for me to start walking in the direction of the bus station. My image has already been flagged to the authorities as a suspect, and in theory, it should only be a matter of time.
That's awesome.
Uh-oh. Right behind me, you can see just over my left shoulder there. Hello, guys. I've been expecting you. Maybe these guys aren't in on the joke.
If they were to implement that sort of technology here in the States, all crimes would come to an end. Because I believe the crime rate there is very, very low. Hell, I just heard today, like parts of California, San Diego to be specific, have almost made it legal to steal as long as it's under $950 worth of product. Something crazy. Y'all go look it up for yourselves, and maybe I'll put it in this video.
Adobe, huge company, updated its terms of services, and it is very spyware heavy, which forces Photoshop and Substance 3D users to provide the company unlimited access to their projects. And that is only the tip of the iceberg. The Adobe controversy gets even worse. Adobe says they own what you make. It's not just privacy issues. If you use Adobe software to create works, Adobe claims to have a license to everything you make to use as they see fit. They can even sell it to someone else if they wish. Sublicense. It's the 4.2 licenses to your content is the big talking point here. Creators like Sasha are canceling their Adobe license after many years as a customer. To make matters worse, people are canceling, and Adobe's charging them. This user, which got 21,000 likes, Adobe just charged me a $80 fee to cancel a student subscription.
Yep.
I haven't had time to use it for my visual poetry project in 2 years, but I kept it just in case I did. I'm so angry at these companies and their scam subscription models, their AI entitlements. Now, although Adobe can take somebody's project and sell it, that's not what they want to do. What they actually want to do is a little bit worse. They want to start using everybody's projects in Photoshops and Illustrator, whatnot, to train their AI. This AI will eventually do what the current workers are doing, but better, faster, and for less of a price. So that would essentially make these people who are using the Adobe products for their jobs and whatnot useless. So essentially, Adobe is using people who are paying for their product to train a device that is going to theoretically replace them. This is the conundrum we're living in right now, and it's not good.
A couple of years ago, I tried to download Adobe Premiere so that I could use the software and better the quality of my content, only to realize that I couldn't just purchase the software outright. I had to make monthly payments on it for the entire time that I used the service. I was like, no, I'm not about to pay $20, $30 every single month just to use Adobe. No.
That is correct. The Hunger Games sign is the same as the scouting sign. So let's do a deep dive into that, because what we're doing now is decoding signs and symbols. So this is from the Boy Scouts of America website, their official nonprofit website, and it talks about that the Freemason relationship with scouting started from the beginning in the 1800s, when the Boy Scouts were founded under the name the Society of the Sons of Daniel Boone. Then it became the Boy Pioneers, and then finally the Boy Scouts. So it says the 3 fingers represents the 3 parts of the Scout Oath, and then there's also the 2-finger sign, which is the Cub Scouts, but you do it in a V, and your thumb has to cover your pinky. Usually accompanies a Scout Oath. Also found it creepy that the founder was referred to as Uncle Dan. It says here the relationship between individual Masons and Scouting, which has existed since the founding of the Scouting in America, has resulted in great benefits for both Freemasonry and Scouting. Then, of course, I found this. Again, on the Boy Scouts of America site. So, in case there's any question, what would this be? Would this be like some kind of a feeder program? Perhaps some sort of a finder's cult? Purely theory, speculation only.
People are starting to think our Joe Biden isn't the original Joe Biden. All the way from people saying his eye color changed, that it used to be brown. They're also saying that the bottom of his earlobes used to be detached, but now they're attached to his face.
Needed any more evidence than what you've seen now.
I don't think that's him, y'all. That's not the same man.
Than what you've seen now.
Look at
Also, people
look at that. This is supposed to be. That's not the same person, y'all. That is not the same person. Completely different earlobes. That's not the same dude. Even though the face is very similar, this is clearly a doppelganger. I wonder what could have happened. Let's say somebody assassinated the original Joe Biden and replaced him with this Joe Biden, and like nobody knew. Nobody knew until he became president or started running for presidency.
Evidence than what you've seen now.
It's not the same person.
I think you needed any more evidence than what you've seen now.
Also, people are pointing out how he used to be right-handed, but now he's left. But what do you think? Is Joe Biden just getting old? Or do you think Joe Biden has had many stand-ins or possibly with some...
I don't care how old you're getting. You're not about to start off as a left-handed writer and then switch over to right hand. No.
People are saying clone.
Look at this. I'm right in the middle of a twister.
Yo, why is that cute to me? It don't even look real.
Apparently, the CEO of BlackRock thinks the idea of you and me retiring at 65 is crazy. As in the man who became a billionaire managing people's retirement accounts. And the really messed up part is the way they use our money against us. Because they do something called ESG investing, which stands for environmental social governance. So if BlackRock doesn't like a company's stance on the climate, BlackRock won't invest in their stocks. And they're the largest asset manager in the world. They control $10.5 trillion in assets. And all of these big companies are in debt because falling stock prices could be devastating. And this stuff is like the mob because they partner with the Human Rights Campaign, who gives all of these companies a corporate equality index score. It's essentially a social credit score for corporations.
So this is our goal. Be anywhere in the world, whether you're at home sitting on your couch, visiting space, or right here on stage at TED.
Oh, heck no.
In just a few seconds, pill will enter the stomach. And I'm carefully navigating around, looking for any changes in surface architecture.
This man using a PS controller, PlayStation controller, to go control this little pill this man swallowed.
That might represent an ulcer or a cancer or any other pathology. And I'm able to get very similar views as I would if I'd use a conventional endoscope.
Now, the way this robot moves is it has 3 pump jet thrusters that squirt water in 6 different directions that allow the pillbot to fly around in 3-dimensional space in a water volume. It has a camera, so it gives you a live video feed. It has control circuitry. It has LED lights because inside the human body is quite dark. It has a wireless data link, and it has a battery. What we started with wasn't not quite swallowable. But we finally worked our way down, and where we are these days is about the size of a small multivitamin capsule.
That's a huge multivitamin capsule. We talk about small. Why he holding it like it's about to fall apart or something? I don't trust it.
To go even smaller, we actually have technology that exists today that allows us to make robots at the nanoscale, which now can bring robots anywhere in the human body, even into the human brain.
The processed food industry was created by the cigarette industry. People don't know this, but in 1990, the three largest processed food companies were cigarette companies: Philip Morris, R.J. Reynolds, and others. Still to this day, Philip Morris owns Kraft. Most of the companies were spun out in the 1990s, but cigarette companies literally took their scientists, as cigarette companies were declining, and put them over to food companies to make the food more addictive. And all those thousands of ingredients that we have in our food are made to addict our children. It's hijacking our biology and our understanding of like what we're eating. You don't binge on natural food because our bodies are made over thousands of years to be with this food. Yeah. But processed food is not natural. It's hijacking our biology.
Oh, that makes so much sense. But what the heck? The cigarette industry are the reason behind us being addicted to bad food, but it tastes so good. No, stop. That's why healthy food is like, you're not addicted to it. You just eat a certain amount of it. You eat just enough of it to get by, because you're not going to want to overindulge in it because it doesn't taste amazing as it could. What? Oh my God. Explains why I have this gut.
Brain and jar biocomputers are now real, and they can learn to control robotics. This literal brain in a petri dish was able to control the toy robot mech that it was hooked up to, which is just wild to me. So what you're looking at in this slightly gross image is actually an organoid. It's an incomplete organ, but it can still perform the functions of an organ, and it is grown in a lab, and the brain cells are actually embedded in it. I believe the organoid's purpose is to insulate or protect the brain cells in some way, and the brain cells are hooked up to this sensor mechanism. You can even see the ribbon right there, and if I scroll down, at the bottom, we have the sensor hooked up to the human brain cells that are inside of the organoid. So when they fire, these sensors register and the robot walks around. Now, what's crazy about this is they actually weren't just doing that one purpose. They were sort of put in there generally. And as a neural network, we're trained in a way very similar to how we train neural network AIs to do this task. I do feel like this one on the end that has the enclosed helmet that isn't just going to dry out is doing better. But this is just absolutely wild that we have created a miniature artificial brain that can at least drive around that mech, which is nutty. You might have seen the guy who could play Pong with the brain implant. And scientists are saying that this shows more intuition, insight, and creativity to how our brains work than traditional AI. They think this is actually going to replace what we traditionally know of AI, and they say it might be better because it uses less electricity, but wetware components have to be kept alive. And letting these things sit out and dry isn't going to do that. So there's a whole different set of technical problems to solve to keep the wetware components alive and functioning. And even in a ideal scenario, I doubt that they are.
That's just the beginning stages of what we've seen from movies in the past and TV shows and cartoons, where you had a human brain sitting inside of this encased liquid, and it had a robot body attached underneath it. That's the beginning stages of that. That's what it will eventually evolve into, I would think, maybe believe, or maybe even an android body of some sort. But if they don't want the brain to dry, just sit it in some sort of liquid that will keep it preserved. It's a preservative.
So for all the people out there who don't believe in chemtrails or weather modification, I want you to head to geoengineeringmonitor.org and let me know what you think about all this. So this website has a map that you can scroll through of the entire world, showing all of the projects that they have going on and all of the areas that they are spraying chemicals into your air in order to modify the weather. And if you look along the side here, that entails all different kinds of things: greenhouse gas removal, solar radiation management, weather modification. So if you see here, we've got carbon capture, direct air capture, ocean fertilization, enhanced weather, artificial upwelling. So if we go down, we got solar radiation management, cloud thinning, microbubbles and sea foams, stratospheric aerosol injection. We've got canceled, completed, ongoing. Lets you know all the projects that are going on with that right now. Weather modification right there. We've got increased precipitation, reduced precipitation, so them just controlling rainfalls however they please. Messing with Mother Nature, that's always a good idea. And then other, my personal favorite. Algae projects, major research project, whatever that is, and other. Not disclosing what it could possibly be. But there you go. Go check.
When I was a kid, if you try to tell me that one day they'll be able to control the weather, I would have thought you were lying. But here we are.
Oh my gosh. He's talking. No. What the heck?
Sound like a
That's
robot.
crazy.
Like a robot.
What else can it say?
I don't know. I don't even know.
Tweet, tweet, tweet.
Tweet, tweet. The bird is actually.
It is talking. I swear to God.
We have video.
Listen. Hey.
He's so.
Is it real?
I don't know. Is it like a robot? Like, because that's a pretty good moving robot.
What?
All right, this is a very cool story. The Department of Defense Agency is developing new technology that is inspired by lizards.
Yes, indeed. Digital producer Alexander Bahu is here to explain what it is and how it can protect our troops.
You know what? Move over, Spider-Man. The Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, also known as DARPA, has created devices that will have humans climbing like geckos. DARPA launched the Z-Man program to develop a better way for warfighters to scale buildings and other obstacles. Researchers on the project were concerned ropes and ladders were dangerous and impractical while carrying heavy loads. That's why DARPA developed handheld biologically inspired climbing aids. They use micro and nano fabrication technologies to produce an aid similar to that of a gecko toe, but for humans. DARPA has tested out the reversible adhesives with a 218-pound climber ascending and descending on glass, while also carrying a 50-pound load. DARPA says these aids can have biomedical, industrial, and consumer applications as well.
Next one's going to be a little bit weird. You may even pause the video to want to Google this to say, this can't be right. In 1951, the U.S. enacted the Invention Secrecy Act. What is that? Allows the government to legally classify and keep certain inventions secret if deemed a threat to national economy or security. How? What could be a threat to national economy? If you're able to figure something out that's 220 miles per gallon, you think it affects the oil industry a little bit? Maybe. Inventions under a secrecy order cannot be discussed, exported, or sold outside of military channels. Violations of secrecy order can result in imprisonment for the inventor.
What? Oh my God. You invent something great that can help society and get in trouble for it, get taken out for it. We've seen that happen countless times. But something like this, oh man, where they would still want to use your technology, but only give access to the military.
Over 6,000 patents today are kept by the U.S. government in secret. They didn't allow the people to go out there and sell it. I wonder what those 6,000 patents are. A lot of people want to be like, when you become a president, I want to go to Area 51. A lot of us capitalists want to find out what these 6,000 patents are.
Did anyone else find the invitations to the all-white party extremely weird? This is the highest profile party in the world called the All-White Party. It's hosted by billionaire Michael Rubin, and it happens every year on the 4th of July. But there was something about the invitations that just didn't sit right with me. This one is Tom Brady's, this one right here is Drake's, and this is Quavo's. You can see all of the celebrities' invitations if you just look them up. But if you pause and look at the artwork, there's some weird stuff going on. These invitations were done by George Condo. This is a very popular artist, and some of his artwork goes for millions of dollars, and he gave each celebrity their own unique invitation. And I looked up some of his artwork, and he has a lot of interesting stuff, including when he collabed with Kanye West for one of his album covers. He drew him up a bunch of artwork. Yeah, I mean, it speaks for itself. A lot of people question what actually goes down during this party, especially after they saw what Michael Rubin made Meek Mill do, jumping around like a bunny because he supposedly lost a bet. And then in the private jet, when Lil Baby and Meek Mill were saying that they were going to get drunken hugs if they don't behave at the party.
I don't care what anyone says. You're getting a drunken hug. You too.
You two drunken hugs are coming in.
In 2006, a leaked document revealed that in a nondescript building in San Francisco, behind this random yellow door labeled 641A, the NSA had set up this harmless-looking box that tapped into the fiber optic cables that traversed the Pacific Ocean into Asia. The phone company AT&T had agreed to let them siphon off the traffic that was moving through their cables.
This is the greatest hemorrhaging of legitimate American secrets in the history of the Republic.
And that is what we have been looking through. I mean, there's a lot more documents, but we sifted through and found the documents that show us that it wasn't just one cable in San Francisco being tapped. Off Yahoo, Google, Facebook. Paltalk? What the hell is Paltalk? Who knows, but the NSA was tapping their cables.
This is so weird. The Göbekli Tepe. There's new stuff coming out from that. What? So this guy who was on the Joe Rogan podcast, he's just like, isn't it kind of weird that this site was discovered in the 90s, but yet we've only dug up 5%. He did some digging. Guess who owns the Göbekli Tepe?
I bet BlackRock.
George Bush.
MySpace Tom.
Was I right?
No.
Oh.
The World Economic Forum. The weirdos that say that you will own nothing and be happy. These guys that are like dictating everything about our world, they own Göbekli Tepe. And they said we will not excavate it anymore because we want to leave it for future generations.
That makes no sense.
We could find out so much more about the people or things that built this site. I really do feel like this site had something to do with the Watchers. What are they hiding? Do they know something about it? That they're just like, we can't expose this because could it give proof to all this ancient knowledge that would validate scripture, maybe, you know? And what this...
Yes, that is my belief as to why they won't do any more excavations. Come on now.
Guy said is our government will never acknowledge what they can't control.
Okay, all day today, it's about 1 p.m. Skies have been crystal clear. Okay, crystal clear. Planes flying across the sky all day long. But now, all of a sudden, what you're about to witness, okay, they all are starting to come now. Crisscross applesauce, all up in here. You're going to see what's going to happen to these crystal clear blue skies, okay? Remember, planes have been flying all day. And then all of a sudden, these guys. Hey, that's kind of weird. It's getting a little hazy 2 hours later. It's like, why wasn't it hazy earlier with all the planes flying, and now it's hazier? Because the temperature hasn't changed. There it is, at the end of the day. Southern evening. Oh.
I think he's insinuating that they're doing a slight weather change, maybe?
Breathe it in.
If you are planning on going to the beach, then you're gonna wanna hear this. Not only have multiple locations been closed around the US, but due to the high temperatures in water, bacteria has rapidly started to grow.
37 beaches in Massachusetts alone closed due to bacterial exceedance, some testing positive for high levels of cyanobacteria or blue-green algae. Beachgoers warned not to swim or enter the water in those locations to avoid risk.
Now, I know some of y'all are still gonna say it's not that serious, which is the exact same thing this girl said before she lost her leg.
Health experts caution that cyanobacteria grows more rapidly in warm water. In California, at least 3 areas along San Diego Bay have been closed for days to swimmers, with the city pointing to high bacterial levels due to sewage runoff in Tijuana. And just last week in New York, an advisory against entering the water at 63 beaches in Suffolk County, which includes much of Long Island.
US's carbon taxes already cover about 25% of global emissions, right? We should actually look at scaling this, right, to cover all 100% of carbon emissions. And beyond carbon, let's think about other aspects of nature that are easier to quantify. We probably will not be able to quantify everything on day one, but what about water, right? That's also quite possible for us to start integrating systematically into current trading carbon pricing mechanism.
Okay, I'm taking a video. If I don't video it, nobody's gonna believe me. See, not really any wind. And then you see this happy tree over here. Happy tree.
Oh, I remember this. We saw this in my freaking look, man. These trees are alive. All these plants are alive. If it's green, it's living. If it's brown, it's down. I don't look. I'm just saying stuff at this point. But yeah, we definitely saw this in my paranormal live stream one night. This tree is moving. I don't know how.
Do you see it?
The little leaves are just shaking their little tail feathers. Look at that.
It's
That's
a happy
crazy.
tree, just a waving.
That's crazy. Happiest little tree of them all.
How weird is that?
Very weird.
So cool.
That's so crazy. Wait, she's saying it only does it when she walks up to it?
Have you heard about the 2045 Initiative, a non-profit organization with hopes of extending the human lifespan using artificial intelligence? Started by Russian billionaire Dmitry Iskov. He claims he can make all humans immortal. They have 4 major milestones in their plan. Number 1 was to create a remote control avatar. 2 was to ensure that the human brain could be transferred into that avatar at the time of a person's. Number 3 was to ensure that consciousness and personality could be uploaded to the avatar at the time of a person.
Ain't this what I was talking about?
Number 4 gets rid of the physical body. They hope the human race can live on in holographic form. This is getting sci-fi. If you've seen Black Mirror, you've seen them experiment with the idea of holographic consciousness.
I was just about to say, this is getting Black Mirror. Wait a minute, I don't remember this episode. Am I behind?
The 2045 Initiative calls this idea cybernetic immortality. Billionaires like Jeff Bezos have funded similar ideas. Artificial humanoid avatars, brain-computer interfaces. What do you guys think about immortal life? Do you think that could help us get to the 5?
Look, I'm not even going to hold you. I feel like with some of my current health battles, by the time 2045 rolls around, which would be 21 years from now, heck, less than that, 20 years, I'm going to need that stuff. Whatever they do right there to keep us living longer, shit, sign me up. I ain't even going to hold you. I ain't going to be the test dummy. But I still tried.
Good idea of sort of roughly what it's doing. But as soon as it gets really complicated, we don't actually know what's going on any more than we know what's going on in your brain.
What do you mean we don't know exactly how it works? It was designed by people.
No, it wasn't. What we did was we designed the learning algorithm. That's a bit like designing the principle of evolution. But when this learning algorithm then interacts with data, it produces complicated neural networks that are good at doing things, but we don't really understand exactly how they do those things.
Okay, so they're in 0G.
If he was talking about AI, which I believe he was, then he was already stating what we all know to be true, is that they aren't fully in control of what the AI is doing, especially when you see some of these little AI video or image generators. Those things are creating those videos and images, doing a process that we don't really entirely know of. Yeah, they're pulling information and sources from all over the place, but we don't know how they're constructing those videos and images entirely. And when I say we, I'm talking about the people that created the AI learning applications. Come on, get with the program.
Okay, so they're in 0G, and watch the ball just fall out of his hand.
Hurricane, and that's pretty neat to be able to see it. You can see the eye and how it's forming. But one of the things that's interesting about up here, when you see that whole hurricane, you're pretty amazed and you start taking pictures. When you see that whole hurricane, you're pretty amazed and you start taking pictures and all of that of it. But then you forget that there are people in danger down on Earth with the hurricanes and all that. So sometimes it's easy to lose perspective up here.
We're going to pretend like we didn't just see this? If you look at this and you say that he pushes the ball down, dude, you're suffering from like serious cognitive dissonance, bro. Like, be real here. This dude's in 0G. They're supposedly floating. The only reason they're able to stand there is their feet are underneath bars because they would be going up. If you don't know, they say they have these little bars for their feet on the ground, and that's what keeps them there. They'd float up. Okay, so this ball would float up if he's not holding it. They're in 0G, bro. Okay, they're in 0G, and the ball falls down. How does that work?
Well, because his arm slipped and forced the ball to go down. It's pretty obvious. I think he's suffering from some cognitive whatever the word is.
This ain't good at all.
What in the smoke is going on there?
As far as an eye can see.
Yo, how? Is that coming from under the earth?
The railroad tracks are on fire.
I said under the earth. I mean under the ground. Oh, they're on fire.
I called and reported it.
Thank you.
Hopefully the railroad has a truck here that they could come and spray this down.
Giant or Sasquatch? Victorville, California.
Sobrepasa los arbustos.
Focus,
Sí,
focus.
No es una persona. No, porque mira, ahí se ve pequeña en la grabación.
It's just a runner. It's not a giant or a Sasquatch. It's just a runner.
De lejos se ve muy grande. Mira, va corriendo, va corriendo. Y no, y sí se mira como que fuera, pero no. Si te fijas la distancia que es y cómo, dónde le quedan los arbustos, sobrepasa. Y una persona no sobrepasa los arbustos. Mira. Se ve grande y está parado junto a los arbustos, pero se ve más grande. ¿Será un gigante?
They even wearing the runner's outfit. A giant. Lord have mercy.
Atmosphere now is caused by the electricity grid, which is about 25% or so.
Exactly.
So 24%, it comes from agriculture and forestry. Why is that causing such a big increase in carbon?
Cows and other grass-eating species have a digestion system that emits methane. And methane is a very powerful greenhouse gas. And so cows alone account for about 6% of global emissions. And so we need to change cows, just cows alone.
How are we going to do that?
Well, actually, of all the categories, the one that has gone better than I would have expected 5 years ago is this work to make what's called artificial meat. And so you have people like Impossible or Beyond Meat, both of which I invested in.
You eat it as well, and you like it?
Absolutely.
You do.
You can go to Burger King and buy the Impossible Burger.
All right. Is it healthier for you or just healthier for the atmosphere?
It's slightly healthier for you.
Well, and you like it?
Absolutely.
You do.
You can go to Burger King and buy the Impossible Burger.
All right. Is it healthier for you or just healthier for the atmosphere?
It's slightly healthier for you in terms of less cholesterol. It's, of course, dramatic reduction in methane emissions, animal cruelty, manure management, and the pressure that meat consumption puts on land use.
Some just don't sit right with me in regards to the idea that Bill Gates has invested in Beyond Meat and different meat alternatives. Makes me want to leave it all alone. It's beyond my scope of understanding, I'll tell you that much.
Remember when Elon said AI is like summoning the demon?
I mean, with artificial intelligence, we are summoning the demon. You know those stories where there's the guy with the pentagram and the holy water, and he's like, yeah, he's sure he can control the demon. Doesn't work out.
Now that's creepy in itself because the guy already knows so much about the AI, the future of AI. But then I started to think about how fast AI has progressed. I mean, it really started with ChatGPT. It would help us think and do tasks. But now it's starting to replace our partners.
Well, it's for a software engineering role, but I just need to know, do I look presentable, professional?
Rocky, you definitely have the I've been calling all night.
Now it's starting to replace, I just posted a video on in prisons where they implement the crime of the criminal into their head as punishment. It seems like AI can replace anything. Now, what if AI's final destination is to replace God or literally summon demons like Elon said? Now, let's not get that crazy, but think about it. If AI can replace anything, and if technology can do everything, why would we need anything else? I'm confident this will never happen because God runs this world, and if he is for us, then who can be against us? And technology can't even come close to the things he can do, but it's just wild to think.
He said, God runs this world. I'm not so sure how true that is, but I definitely feel like we could come close to living in a civilization where AI controls us to the point where we're slaves to it.
Now, I know this might confuse you, as Will Smith was supposedly singing about God and even brought out gospel singer Kirk Franklin. You might be saying right around now, there is no way this performance could have been a ritual. They were rapping and singing about God, but the imagery they showed during the performance tells us otherwise. While Will Smith was rapping about God, which he didn't specify which God, we can see that he is once again inside of a magical circle created with flames. This is the first red flag, as God forbids all forms of magic, and this is already indicating this ceremonial ritual. On top of this, behind Will Smith, we see a massive red moon rising, which again ties back to the occult, as many occultists practice moon magic. The red moon actually represents a rebirth in the occult, and is often used during these occult rituals. None of this imagery correlates with a message about the one true God. This is because Will Smith wasn't dedicating this performance to the same God we worship. How do I know this? Well, because Will Smith is an occultist who is actually a part of the Church of Scientology. It is common knowledge Will Smith and his wife are members of the Church of Scientology. Even though they deny being affiliated with the organization, they have been seen at many Church of Scientology events. He also recently got caught for creating a school for kids that taught them all about Scientology in their curriculum. The school was literally labeled a Scientology school, and that is against the rules. The first thing to note about this is that the Church of Scientology doesn't believe in the God us normal people worship. They actually don't believe in God at all, as they teach that people are their own God.
Really, the basis of Scientology, which is rather hidden and covered over, is the occult, the deep involvement with satanic powers, and he felt that he was deeply involved with a British black magician called Aleister Crowley.
Going to a restaurant these days can be pricey. The cost of food is up. Tips are more generous than ever. Now add a carbon fee to the bill. Let's bring in CTV's Adrian Gobrel. Adrian, I had no idea that this was happening. Is it legal?
Sandy, food inflation means it costs more to eat out these days. Though a new charge here at this Italian restaurant in Toronto has caught the attention of some patrons.
We had a wonderful meal, drinks were flowing, great time, and then they came with the machine to pay the bill. I paid the bill, they come back with the receipt, and then as I was leaving the restaurant, I say, oh, hey, look at this, what is this fee?
The extra charge on his bill ended up being a 2% carbon fee, which equaled about $3. Now, Joseph Cristiano, who's an employee at Bell Media, CTV's parent company, took a closer look at the check, and he found this explanation at the bottom of the bill, which states, what we eat fuels climate change. Adding 2% to every restaurant bill to invest in carbon capture will help offset our carbon footprint. Would a legitimate carbon fee stop you from going back to this restaurant or any other?
Probably not. I think I can live with 2%. If you started putting 10% or more on there, I'm like, all right, I can cook at home.
While not believed to be the norm currently at most restaurants, the Canadian Federation of Independent Businesses say the fee is completely...
What? What would y'all do if y'all saw a carbon fee charge on your bill?
Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell y'all something. Whoever wrote this on this Ziploc bag is a dangerous person, and they don't care about anything. They don't care about nothing in life. I just want to put that out there. Say that because if you don't take the time to figure out how to spell baloney, and that everybody don't know how to spell baloney. Everybody don't know how to spell it. I get that. But the fact that we live in the iPhone days, the smartphone era, where you literally can talk into your phone and it will spell it out for you.
Hey Siri, how do you spell baloney? Siri? It put it on the screen, but it didn't say it out loud. Lazy. Hey Google, how do you spell baloney?
Bologna is spelled B-O-L-O-G-N-A.
Technology.
You could have went into your notes, you know what I mean, just tapped the microphone, said baloney, and then it would have spelled it out. You could have wrote that on the bag, and nobody would have known that your ass didn't know how to say or spell baloney. But to be as low as to write below on the bag, you are a dangerous person. You dangerous. As any and everybody to stay away from you. You understand? Because you. Yeah.
Peace to the gods and goddesses. I know y'all can feel the energy on the planet. Something big is actually coming. Downloads and transmissions been crazy. Things in the astro realm have been extremely crazy. It's evident that the planet is terraforming. You can actually feel Tiamat shifted. Now, for millenniums, we've been subjugated by malevolent extraterrestrials from the Orion star system. I'll say allegedly for this act. Most of the politicians and entertainers you see aren't actually human. The Alpha Draconians are associated with the Sakar Empire. But there's a huge misunderstanding when it comes to the reptilian. Not all reptilian are actually evil. In fact, the Hopis refer to a certain group of extraterrestrial reptilians as the Celestial Star Family. They call them the Snake Brothers, basically. This picture that you see behind me is something that the Hopis would actually do to commemorate the Snake Brothers. They would actually do this annually. They would gather, they would actually adorn themselves in attire that actually looks similar to reptilian features, and they would actually commemorate the Snake Brothers. These beings took residence in underground cities. They had established civilizations right underneath us and even had their own spiritual systems. These beings actually introduced the Hopis to the vegetable we all know as corn, or corn on the cob. And once these ancient beings actually start to show us their methods of extraterrestrial agriculture and started planting their corn rows and things of that nature, after being exposed to these extraterrestrial teachings, we started applying them to us. Next time you see a piece of popcorn or corn on the cob or corn period, just know that it came from extraterrestrials, that it was something that was brought to this planet. And Yanaki are going to begin making themselves known again, okay? They're already on the planet. They have had several encounters with Vladimir Putin, different soldiers from Russia and things of that nature. But now with everything turning up on the planet, you're going to see the Lyrans, you're going to see the Arcturians, you're going to see a lot of these celestial beings revisiting Tiamat. This is information not for everybody. There have been several instances of people seeing these extraterrestrials, actually seeing giants. In fact, a UFO just came out in Manhattan a few days ago and just revealed itself. It actually stood right there. You know, and some people try to say it's blue beam and things of that nature. These are people that don't understand what's really going on and don't realize that there are a lot of extraterrestrials amongst us. There's also over 40 stargates on the planet that are being activated as well. This is one of the reasons there is an increase in shadow apparitions. People who don't even follow this type of esoteric subject matter is saying that they see shadow beings. All right, this is something that I'm hearing from everyone. And I've been getting more and more downloads, more and more information have been consistently coming to me. The dream realm has been more bizarre, all right? More wars in the dream, all right? I've been consistently seeing wars in the astral realm. When I'm not seeing war, I'm experimenting with flight or learning how to access powers and really tapping into my light body. When this energy is turning up, Cosmic Family, I recommend that you're grounding, all right? I got out and I grounded. I ground and I also lay in the grass, Cosmic Family. I go outside, I sun gaze, I do my breathing techniques, I look right into the sun, and I actually be barefoot in the soil. And sometimes I'll even lay in the grass and just relax. It's important that we get outside, all right? And that we ensure that we're reaping the benefits of these ionizing particles. All right, keep crystals in close proximity to you. All right, crystals are very essential for raising your electromagnetic aura field. Also, get things like copper bracelets. Okay, this copper bracelet is electromagnetic. Copper will substantially increase your auric field. This gives you more electrical output, which in turn gives you more ability to receive cosmic downloads. Remember, you are a tuning fork to the cosmos. So if you're consistently consuming electrical food, all right, you're consuming your H3O2, you're wearing things like copper, you're wearing your crystals to strengthen your aura, you're doing your breathing exercises, you're grounding, you're sun gazing to strengthen your electromagnetic aura field. You're going to begin to have more astral projection experiences as well as lucid dreams. And as I've been sun gazing, I have been seeing these ships flying in and out of the sun. As I expressed in previous videos, they charge their ships utilizing plasma energy. All right, so once you get more proficient at sun gazing, you will be able to see beyond a glare. And as I'm looking and as I'm watching and as I'm staring, doing my breathing exercises, right, I'm seeing these ships flying in and out of the sun. Typically, the bigger light ships, they'll park behind the sun, all right? They'll position the light ships behind the sun. And this is sometimes why when you look at the sun, you see extra corpuscular rays and it's even more bright. Most of the light simulators that they have been using have been malfunctioning due to the ionizing particles. This is why there's been an increase in natural disasters. The planet is actually trying to fight the deceptive technology. The planet's natural response is to heal itself. All right, you have to remember the planet is a mother. All right, the planet is a divine feminine energy, and its objective is healing and nurturing. All right, but when it has to arm wrestle with deceptive technology, that actually results in things like tornadoes, earthquakes, hurricanes, and things of that nature. Gods and goddesses, the most important thing you can do right now is make sure that you're going inward and taking care of yourself. Make sure that you're doing things like detoxification, utilization of chlorophyll, chlorella for metal chelation, removing those toxic metals out of your body. Make sure that you're going out in nature. All right, that you're taking off your socks and your shoes and you're planting your feet in the soil to connect with the Schumann resonance. Make sure that you're wearing your crystals, all right? Make sure that you're charging your crystals. Make sure that you're saying positive affirmations, that you're being grateful. These are all essential for activation of your cosmic light body, family. And it's important that you're also doing things like really tapping in and experimenting with lucid dreaming and astral projection. All right, because as I expressed, with the Lion's Gate portal being open and all this cosmic celestial energy coming in, the astral realm has been intense. And this is where you actually receive your cosmic data in the Akashic records. All right, so you should be actually becoming more proficient in things like astral projection, lucid dreaming, really trying to actually have an OBE. If you haven't gotten it yet, get your Blue Lotus as well as your mugwort leaf. This creates activity in the prefrontal cortex of the brain, which allows you to successfully accomplish the theta frequency. You also should be taking things like colloidal silver and colloidal gold. Right now is the time to level up, gods and goddesses. For all herbs and metaphysical products for spiritual exploration, click the link in my bio and visit Holistic Remedies, your extension to ascension. Remember, those that know are aware that the energy is only going to get more and more intense, all right? So avoid the news, avoid the media. Focus on truly going inward. If you can, have a psychedelic experience, all right? If you have the ability of ascertaining things like magic mushrooms and really shedding off the ego, all right? It's important that you eliminate fear right now. Face anything that you fear. If you fear astral projection or really the concept of leaving your body, you need to know that it's a silver cord that's attached. That death doesn't exist. The energy doesn't die. You need to walk into those things that you fear and really embrace your higher God mind. Peace, love, and light to everyone.
God, he said a lot, and I agree with a lot of it, especially the holistic healing aspect of it. But when it comes to the extraterrestrial, he said some stuff I've never heard before, and I want to believe it.
Ford just filed a patent that would report speeding vehicles to the police. Basically, every new Ford is going to have a device that'll track all the vehicles that are around it. And any vehicle that is speeding, well, it will automatically get reported to the police. Not only that, this same device is also going to allow them to be able to track your vehicle and report it to the police if you're caught speeding too. They've only filed for this patent so far. It hasn't actually been approved, but make sure you're following and I'll let you know if it does.
What's crazy is a little bit earlier today, I could have and almost would have been involved in a horrific car accident because I was at a light getting ready to leave, my place where I get my matchas at. And I'm at the light. The light turns for me to go and something just makes me hesitant. I just don't go. I'm looking at the light and I'm not moving. I think I did something in my cup holder that preoccupied me for a long enough time to avoid a very bad accident because this car just flew right past me. It blew that light. Mind you, its light had been red for a very long time. My light didn't just turn so that I can go. The lights on the same direction that I was heading in had already been green. This light had already been red that the car drove past for at least a minute and a half. If I would have went when the light turned for me to go, y'all might not be seeing me right now.
Did you know there's a whole other city been approved, but make sure you're following and I'll let you know if it does. Did you know there's a whole other city underneath downtown Seattle? This is the original city dating back to the 1800s. When Seattle was first built, it was constructed at or below sea level, causing it to flood often. So after the Great Fire of 1889, it was decided that it would be rebuilt above the flood line. During the rebuild, the old buildings still operated below, as new streets were formed above. The gaps between the two would be connected using ladders. In 1909, fears of the bubonic plague closed the underground streets, although illegal operations would continue. It was abandoned around World War II, and today, these underground systems are open for tours. Many spooky legends have been shared about these tunnels, and ghosts have been spotted. It's said that a phantom horse-drawn carriage travels these old streets, and some can hear the sounds of the hooves. Other ghosts include a lady in white, phantom woman near the old brothels, a ghostly bank teller, and dark figures who hide in the shadows.
Well, now California is imposing people need to stop grilling food. So then maybe we're just going to use propane. Nope, can't use propane and gas. Oh, so we're going to, well, maybe we can just go out there and harvest, start picking berries. Nope, you can't do that because you're going to mess up the wildlife ecosystem. Oh, maybe we'll just drink water. Oh, you can't do that because the EPA is going to be toxifying your water. Let's just be breatharians and live on the sun. Oh, you can't do that because Monsanto's is going to tax the sun.
Well, we can still bake things in Arizona. You just throw it on the sidewalk, grill it on the sidewalk, or in your car.
No, they're going to tax you for the sun use. Maybe we'll just go into the front yard and start eating our grass and start chopping grass. But you can't do that because HOA is going to come along and say that's a violation of house associational violations. There's really nothing.
The blob that was found at ventusky.com, and they said, hey, it's a model error, but don't worry, the German company DWD has resolved it. But the blob would come back. So Ventusky said, hey, we're going to put in a new wave model. Blob kept showing up sometimes in cute forms, sometimes a little more fierce, but every time there would be very severe weather events happening in the time frame of the blob. So finally Ventusky said, we're facing issues with the wave model, showing incorrect values near Africa, so we're going to withdraw and redesign the model altogether. Very unusual situation. So that was that. By the way, what the blob was supposed to be representing was physical wave height, but there were no 80-foot high waves, so people speculated something else was triggering the sensors. So here we are today, and someone sends me this weather report for South Africa, where they have no less than 12 severe weather warnings. This company, Snow Report SA, posted on their Instagram a clip from a follower named Anne. I guess this isn't normal, but to those of you in South Africa, I really want to know, is this normal? Anyway, I just thought I'd share this. I hope everyone in South Africa is safe. And I'm sure it was just a glitch.
Snow in South Africa? I didn't even know Africa could get snow. Well, look, I might just be dumb. Anyway, leave your thoughts, comments, and opinions down below, and I'm going to catch y'all in the next one. See ya.